content, it not only is the way of the future, but it's largely the way of the world right now. And I think we're just starting to realize that maybe. But with that being said, there's a massive opportunity to separate the good from the bad in the future. There's to separate the signal from the noise. And so the people that continue to create great content in the future will further separate themselves from all of the noise on the internet. And that to me is really exciting. And so to your question, what makes that great content? I can't speak for everyone, but for me, what works really well is concise content. There's a lot of content out there that is there simply to fill up space.
Can you give an example too as you say that? So maybe use any article you'd like to kind of decipher noise versus, real content.
Yeah, so to me, like any great concept can largely be described or explained in less than 500 words. And if it's not, there's probably a lot of filler verbiage and content in there that is just trying to expand the page. And the same thing goes for books, right? There's a lot of, I'm sure you read a lot. I read constantly. It's honestly probably maybe 1 in 10 books I read where I'm like, the content was concise to the point that it got its message across without being fluffy. Most books are 20% like really valuable stuff and 80% just filling the rest of the pages. And that's tough as a reader because you got to spend your time pulling out the good stuff. And it makes for a bad reading experience. So, whether it's a book or whether it's online content, it's distill that information down to its most valuable points. On one extreme is probably like the Seth Godin of the world, who distills it almost to the point of the other end where you have to think about this few sentence article that he wrote and then think through and process in your head, like, how does that apply to what I'm doing? That's like the extreme end of it. But there's a lot of room for that middle ground of like 300 to 500 word articles that take like a Seth Godin type content and expand upon it a little bit more, but not too much more. And then, so there's that. There's being concise and creating short content that's digestible. People's attention spans are shorter and shorter every day. Not that we're changing, but that the amount of information we're consuming is changing. And so we have to change with that. We've got to produce shorter content that's readily accessible and digestible so we can go on with our days. The next piece is this. This is preached a lot today, so I don't want it to come off as dogmatic. But you have to speak to what you know. You have to speak authentically because people read right through that. If I were to go out and try to become like an SEO blogger and put out a bunch of content about how SEO is going to make you millions of dollars doing this, like people would see right through that, regardless of whether or not I put valuable information out there. Adam Griffin doesn't come through in that. Like in everything you do, PJ comes through, right? And people see that and they value that. And so, that just being authentic in whatever it is, one that but also the person that you truly are. People will read right through that, so you might as well just be an open book, be the person you are, and filter that down to your best content and put that out.
So authentic and obviously concise are the two pieces of advice you have for very good content versus just content.
Yep. Yeah. I think it really is as simple as that. There is room for valuable evergreen content, so I don't want to totally knock long form content. Evergreen content, which is this idea of content that's just as valuable 5 years from now as it is today.
Right. Like universal content that's not time driven or anything else.
Yeah, stuff like that is intentionally SEO driven. There's a lot of keywords and length and context for the purpose of that. There's value in that. But our day-to-day messages should be concise and to the point and authentic. And then beyond that, so if you have concise, authentic content that you're consistently putting out there, that's another big piece. Is a lot of people are flashes in the pan. They'll start creating content, I'm going to commit to like posting 3 days a week, and that lasts for like 2 months, and then they haven't posted anything for 6 months or whatever. And like readers, whether we say it or not, we depend on the people that we follow to consistently put out content, because that's why
we almost subconsciously build an expectation, right? It's like if someone told you there's an update on Monday you're on the site, you're like, what's wrong with you? Like, where's my content?
Right, there should be an update on Monday. And so yeah, and that's where I'm a huge preacher and believer in habits, and writing content in general is a habit just like anything else. And so building in the discipline and diligence to whatever your content is, whether it's a podcast, whether it's video interviews, whether it's short content, long form content, just be consistent about it and make it a habit. And then the final piece is truly understanding that there is value in what you're producing, and you simply have to find the community that finds value in it. So there's always websites that will align with your content and have existing big audiences that would like to consume it. And so when you can position yourself as a thought leader and knowing what you're talking about in this specific topic, your next step is just to go find the people that want to ingest that content, find the editors, position yourself as a person that can provide them quality content, and all of a sudden, you're opening yourself up to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of readers, listeners, whoever that you wouldn't have had access to prior.